The Coromandel Peninsula on the east coast of New Zealand's North Island is a holiday paradise. Sun-soaked beaches where you can soak in the rays or soak in the steam. The tranquil bush is a hiker's heaven, and on the sea and under the waves, the view's spectacular. For the second year, the holiday town of Whitianga will host the cars and drivers of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship, on stages which crisscross the peninsula and through the town as well. This is the Mahindra Goldrush Rally of Coromandel. A record championship entry is lined up at the pre-rally show along Whitianga's boulevard of restaurants. But before we meet the drivers, let's check out the action from round 4 at Gisborne.
Caution, keep it.
It was based in Gisborne, but really it was the mighty Motu stage which was the focus of round 4. No one would come close to Colin McRae's amazing record, but Ben Hunt showed he's the true championship leader with a dominant run over this iconic stage on his way to another win. Phil Campbell lost out when his car struck problems before the Motu and retired. But Lance Williams fired up to second place.
Two right's got a slippery drop off the bridge.
And Andrew Hawkswood having the best result for the new Mazda 2 with third overall. So Hunt extends his championship lead. Followed by Campbell, Williams, Summerfield, Van Klink, Featherstone, Green and Andy Martin. Friday afternoon to Blacksmith Lane in the heart of Whitianga's entertainment district, and amongst the crowd is our own rally expert, Glenn Inkster.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Mahindra Goldrush Rally. This is a new rally for me. I got to watch it last year, but this time I'm going to have a go in a new generation rally car and be able to see just how good they are. One thing I do know about this rally, it was really popular with the drivers last year, but I'm not the only one to tackle these stages for the first time tomorrow.
Thanks, Glenn. This is also my first time at the Coromandel Rally. Last year I was busy competing over in America in the Red Bull Global Rallycross Series, so it's great to be able to see the Coromandel Rally for the first time. Recce was short compared to what we're used to, and the roads look great. Very, very similar, I think, to some of the Rally New Zealand stages that we used to do around the Waikato. Really looking forward to getting the car out there. The wee Suzuki, we've done some more development work in the meantime since Gisborne. There's a few things we needed to improve, so looking forward to tomorrow.
Last year's rally winner, Phil Campbell, picking up his maiden NZRC victory. Phil, you're normally pretty good with some tips and info. You got a few for me this rally?
Oh, we're just going to go out and do what we did last year, hopefully. The car's working really well now. We had a bit of a problem at the last round. We've got a new front diff in it now and it seems to be working awesome. So yeah, we're just going to go out and do our own thing and get to the end and get some more good championship points.
In April this year, David Holder had what could have been a season-ending crash. But his supporters have rallied around him and worked so hard to get the car back to the start line.
Traditionally, I like to be competitive, that's why you're here. But realistically, you have to be realistic. So we're going to go out there and do the first stage. Me and Jace first time together, get it out of the road. If we're slow, whatever. And hopefully, just naturally, the pace comes a few stages later.
But the man in the hot seat of the championship with 3 wins so far is Ben Hunt. Once again, he'll start 1 on the road.
There's quite a few people around New Zealand over the social media in the last couple of weeks that wanted Marcus to go 1 on the road, but we've got to think of our championship, and we probably 1 on the road is probably the best place for us tomorrow.
We leave the pre-rally fiesta now and go to our B&T stage preview. First stage of the day will be Ernslaw. Just 11 Ks. It starts at Wade Road, just out of Whitianga, climbs through the forest, then into a steep descent. Very fast in places and a great early test of brakes and handling. And it's great for the first time to have our special guest.
Morning.
And that is the big welcome to Hyundai World Rally Team driver Hayden Paddon, the rising star of the WRC. Great to have you back home checking out the locals again, Hayden.
Yeah, thanks, Clint. Great to be home and see some rallying on some of the best roads in the world.
So let's get to the action now. Rolling start on stage one. Ben Hunt uphill, the loose gravel early on the stage. Bit of an early wake up too for them.
Yeah, especially being first on the road. You can see a lot of gravel covering on the road here, and then obviously Ben's going to be making the lines for everybody else.
Now this road is quite soft at the start, so conditions won't get better as we see Phil Campbell in the stage.
Yeah, already one car on the road, and there'll be a line there from the follow and follow Ben's braking marks. But you can see on board here, Phil, you know, he's still sliding around a lot. There's a lot of gravel on this road, and I think it's going to take several cars for it to clean off.
Matt Summerfield next on stage, and with such a steep climb, the drivers seem very committed, and they have to be, I suppose.
Yeah, uphill is great fun for any drivers. You can really carry a lot of corner speed and be late on the braking points. But going down the other side of the hill is always a different story, and this is where a rally can be won or lost.
Lance Williams celebrating his 21st birthday today, so he's carrying number 21 on the car.
Long 5 left minus, off camber. Middle over crest into 5 right plus. And 6 left plus 80.
Marcus Van Klink 5th in the championship. So will run 5th on the road all day, and great for the spectators too. He'll be driving on unswept roads all morning though. That may cost him some speed over the other two-wheel drive cars. Alex Kelsey next on the road in his exciting MC1.
And isn't that an amazing sounding car, and it's getting talked about all around the world.
Emma Gilmore stalling in the first stage, but still the Suzuki has impressive pace for a 1600 turbo. And you know all about that too with the WRC cars, Hayden.
Yeah, obviously the World Rally Car also has a 1600 power plant, and they create a lot of good power.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And a man you know all about, Hayden.
Yeah, it's great to see David Holder back in the championship after being on the sidelines for a few events, and he's obviously had an uphill battle getting back here, but it's great to see the green machine back out there.
Now at Rally Gisborne, Dylan Turner was leading on the Motu stage before he drowned his car. So perhaps a man to watch today.
3, 2, 1.
A strong field of championship contenders here at the Mahindra Goldrush Rally of Coromandel. Sloane Cox starting 11th on the road, but more than capable of an upset. In fact, just 0.1 behind stage winner Ben Hunt.
30. 3 left, tightens narrow, 30.
Graham Featherston, also a stage winner in the past, and having what described as the ultimate test drive, our own rally expert Glenn Ingston in his first drive of the AP4 Mazda 2.
And this will be quite different for Glenn from the production cars he's driven in the past. Obviously more power, a lot more nimble, and as you can see, he's got a pretty fogged up window there at the moment as well.
Yep. Oh, where's the heater? Can you see heater? No, don't worry, don't worry. Flick your window open a bit. I have. Yep.
It's not like the production car with the switches on the dash.
Also on debut is this V-Dub Polo of Shannon Chambers, one of the proto cars out of Poland with engineering by M2 competition in Hamilton. Clinton Cunningham, though, having a trouble start in his RCK Carter's building supply Evo. Again, the engine having fuel issues. Another short 13.4 kilometre stage next, the 309 Gravel Highway, a well-known shortcut through the peninsula. The 309 is winding right throughout its length with tightens at the finish, a hard base, tough on brakes. The addition of some tarmac at the start has shortened the stage by 700 metres. It may be only 13 k's, but the road is unrelenting. But like the great NZRC roads, it has a great flow, Hayden.
Yeah, look at roads like this. You don't find this anywhere else in the world, and I'm sure Ben and the other drivers will be really enjoying this. And you know, particularly Ben, this stage looks a little bit more swept. I'm sure the grip will be a little bit better for him. And a stage like this with all these blind corners, the pace notes are absolutely critical.
100, long 2 left.
Hunt's time, 8 minutes 46.6. But what about Phil Campbell? Slow in the first stage by over 8 seconds to Hunt. He needs to stay in touch. The championship is still alive, but really it's down to Campbell and Hunt.
right, long 2 left 30.
Matt Summerfield has shown great form in 2015, but a crash at Rally Canterbury put a dent in his chances.
30, short 4 left, 3 right 20, 2 left, keep in on it.
Oh, and that was a good impact as well, and you can see by Matt's input on the steering wheel, he knows something's bent already.
So that's a shame for him.
Kinks 18.
How far to go?
Local driver Alex Kelsey spun on stage 1, losing 8 seconds. Then here on stage 2 was bad luck continued with a gearbox issue, losing an argument with a signpost. Emma Gilmore lost stage 1 with a stall on the start line and now just struggling with handling on this stage.
24 right.
And you can see with the amount of steering input there, it looks like she's struggling with a lot of understeer.
Stage 1 under his belt, back to normal for David Holder with a top 5 finish through here. Dylan Turner hooking into it, 5th fastest on the stage, moving up to 3rd overall. Sloane Cox holding 2nd here, but not without a few moments.
Sloane's always one to put 10 tenths into it, and he's always one of the more spectacular ones on the stages.
Finish. Slippy Kinks 120.
Lucky to get away with that moment too.
Graham Featherston slowed in the stage and was caught and passed by Class 5 leader Darren Galbraith. Class 5 challenge lead in the balance on this rally. Galbraith trying to catch Kingsley Jones, so let's put them both side by side through their paces on the stage.
And you can see with this comparison, Darren being a lot smoother with the car and Kingsley really throwing it around, using the handbrake and sliding the car a lot more.
Oh, and he slid it a bit too fast, that spin, falling foul the conditions there. But the man they both had to beat was the points leader, Tyler Radovan, but he would retire early with a broken diff. Adding some interest to the class, Todd Borden making his return to the NZRC Championship, just 1.7 seconds behind Galbraith. Blenheim's Richard Bateman also looking for points to stay in touch with the challenge. He was 4th in the class. After 2 stages, Ben Hunt holds a 3.2 second lead over Sloane Cox. Dylan Turner strong in 3rd as we head to the first service.
Sloane's going really well, back in, I think he's 11th on the road, so you know he's got a good road position, and it's awesome to have a few different guys up the front. And you know, those first 2 stages are nice and fast and quite short, so there's always quite a small gap between the first 5 or 6 competitors.
Yeah, that love tap right there was the last corner at 2nd stage. I saw a whole pile of spectators, thought I'd better put a show on like normal, but paid a little bit of a price there, but pace is still there, I'm happy.
Yeah, we would have liked to have been probably a little bit better than what we are, a little bit slow through the first stage. I don't know what happened there, we thought we were going not too bad, but yeah, the time didn't show it. So we tried a little bit harder in stage 2, and yeah, it's a better time, so we're happy again now.
All right, Lance, we're hearing you had a little off in one of the stages this morning.
Yeah, it was definitely a close one, but managed to stay on the road and carried on going.
Bit of birthday luck with you think?
Yeah, probably. I've seen some more marks there, but they didn't quite go on as far as me.
Matt Summerfield's crew replacing a bed lower arm to get him back on the pace, while our own rally expert Glenn Inkster has had an eventful start to his AP4 test drive.
I've always wanted to have a drive of this new generation car because it really is the future, but it's taken me a little bit of time to get used to it. If I go get a rental car, it's going to take time to work out where the switches are, where the seating position is, and it's no different to a rally car. So we spent a lot of time in that stage not knowing to turn this heater on, we're fogged up, but it's a lot of fun. The cars have got a lot of grunt, and smile factor is huge. We just got to tidy up, I've got to tidy up my driving, and we're progressing and learning as we go, so it's very, very good.
Coming up on Mahindra Goldrush Rally of Coromandel, the stage beneath Castle Rock, and we take to the water to meet some locals. The Joneses, Kingsley and Waverley are contenders for the Gold Class 5 Rally Challenge, but we wondered about the unusual sponsor on the side of the car.
I am a clinical dental technician, so that means I make false teeth or any removable prosthetics, anything that's needed in the mouth, I make it direct to the patient. I was very scared to ever hop in the car with Kingsley. He asked me for about a year before I consented to giving it my first go, simply because I thought we're two quite strong personalities and we possibly would end the relationship quite quickly if we ever jumped in the car together. I did Tauranga Clubman's in my own little starlet, seeded 50 out of 50, so the expectations weren't great. I managed to pass a car in my first stage, which was very unexpected to say the least. And ended up coming in 37th. So it was great. I guess my lack of competitors comes in where it's me against the clock. I'm not against other competitors, it's me against what I can do.
Back to the stages, let's get our teeth into Stage 3, Tapu Coroglen. A famous Coromandel road goes right over the peninsula from east to west, very tight in places, some huge drops down into a valley. A true test for the drivers and the cars over 23 kilometres. Ben Hart looking to cement his lead here. This road has a lot of traffic on it every day, so I suppose, Hayden, a very hard surface?
Yeah, nice hard surface, and you can see with this humidity that's around that the grip shouldn't be too bad despite that little bit of gravel covering, but look at that camber. You know, how can you not love these roads?
5 right plus into hug 4 left.
Hunt sets a stage time, 16 minutes 15.
Opens.
Phil Campbell just off the pace in the morning. Maybe changes at service have actually improved the car.
Yeah, the Mitsubishis have always struggled a little bit more when the roads have been slower and more technical like this, so Phil's doing a good job, but you also got to remember Ben and the combination with the Subaru is working very well on these roads. 5 left minus. And you can see Phil here, a lot of oversteer into understeer and really struggling for balance with the car.
5 left 30.
And Campbell ended up being 8.5 seconds slower on the stage. And Sloane Cox striking problems on the stage. A puff of smoke could be the start of an overheating issue.
That's 80. Pink left. Oh.
Just blew up.
Huh?
No.
Into medium 4 right opens. Narrow.
So Cox drops behind Campbell to third, but still going. David Holder third fastest on the stage and closing to within 3 seconds of Cox. Darren Galbraith now easily ahead in Class 5, but also chasing another podium. Great to see Marcus van Klink starting 5th on the road, but in the end it was a disadvantage and he struggled for traction. Max Bailey getting ahead of Van Klink as once again these two fought hard to see whether it was age or youth that would win out on the stages along with the cars.
6 right into 4 left. 50.
Oh, big moment there. You can see that culvert really unsettled the car. He's very lucky to get away with that.
4 left.
Regan Ross had an oil leak and a stuck throttle early on. But the surprise of the rally so far, Anthony Jones, the Welshman, punishing the competition to lead the two-wheel drive section in his Class 5 Escort. Tony Gosling now closing in on his historic competitors, under 3 seconds to Van Klink. And also having a battle load of fun, Andy Martin in his RX3.
I'm sure it's not the easiest car to drive on these roads, but, you know, all these guys in Class 5 are here to have fun, and no better way to do it than in a rear-wheel drive car.
And, of course, these great Coromandel roads not too far away from Rod Millen, the man who pioneered Mazda racing in New Zealand rallying. Justin Glavish driving his little starlet like he stole it, just 1 second behind Gosling despite giving away about 80 horsepower. Jeff Talkington rounding out the class in his Toyota MR2. So stage 4 of the Mahindra Goldrush Rally of the Coromandel is the longest, 24.17 kilometres, a combination of gnarly forestry roads, runs under the iconic Castle Rock, this road known for having big rocks. Then it rejoins the 309 road, which has been well swept after the morning stages. If the road is dry, then tyre wear will be an issue. Overcast conditions though, taking some of the heat out of the road surface. Ben Hunt here on the Castle Rock Road, picking up some rocks. Bit of a contrast too to the end of the 309 stage, Hayden.
Yeah, obviously the first part a lot rougher, and I have to be watching out for punches. And in the second part of the stage here, now that it's already been used, nice and swept. Still though, it looks a little bit greasy.
Hunt's time, 19 minutes 42.7. That's 18 seconds under his record. Phil Campbell through at the Ford at the end of the Castle Rock Road, so no issues in the rough part of the stage.
You can see now this is a really tight technical downhill section, and really trying to carry corner speed, not like that, is how you're going to get a fast stage time.
Lucky to get away with clipping the bank, just 7.6 seconds down on Hunt, so the lead now out to 27.3 seconds. Matt Summerfield pushing hard to make up for lost time in stage 2, but of course his Subaru a lot older than Hunt's.
Yeah, be a little bit less power, a little bit different geometry, but the biggest difference for these sort of stages will be the longer wheelbase, and that means it'll be just that much harder to get into these slower corners.
3 left minus 20. 2 left.
Lance Williams' car is the newest of the Subarus in the field. His is full R4 spec.
2 left up here. If it gets really hot, turn the anti-lag off.
And it sounds like he's struggling with some overheating problems here as well, and that will certainly be a distraction for the driving, but also we'll be wanting to look after that engine.
5 right minus and 3 left plus. Very long. Until 3 left plus.
Williams 30 seconds down on Hunt though. Alex Kelsey out of contention after hitting a post on stage 2, but Hunting stage wins now. 21 seconds slower than Hunt though through the stage, so the car perhaps not suited to the rough stuff. Another strong showing though by David Holder. He would move ahead of Matt Summerfield into 3rd position here. Sloane Cox nursing his car through the stage with an overheating engine, but he wasn't the only driver with issues.
Into 4 right plus in. Care 4 left, don't go
Dylan
right.
Turner stopped in the stage.
Short 5
And
right.
further up the road, Emma Gilmore has also stopped.
50.
Looks
3
like
right
she's
plus
working on the engine too. So Graham Featherston moves into the top 10. In the Gold Rally Challenge, Darren Galbraith clearly in the lead and also 5th overall. This is an old car, but helped by the larger restrictor allowed in the Class 5 rules.
With these older cars though, without the electronic diffs, they really have to throw the cars around to get them into these tight corners.
6 right minus.
Kingsley and Waverley Jones next. The target for them is just to finish in the top 3 in the class. That will keep them competitive going into the final round at Wairarapa. But problems in the stage here with a puncture.
You can see Kingsley nursing this left front puncher out of the stage, and it's always a balancing act whether you drive out or whether you stop and change it.
4 left minus. Come on, baby.
Todd Borden 2nd in the class and 9th overall. Clinton Cunningham having a disappointing day in the RCK Contractors Evo. Going well after fuel issues in stage 1, but that had damaged the engine and he was forced to retire on stage 4.
Just keep oil lights on. Okay. Just find somewhere safe to park. Still in. Okay.
Glenn Inkster punctured on stage 3, so was fighting back while learning as much as he could about the car. Co-driver Spencer Wynn on just his 2nd gravel rally, also a steep learning curve.
Careful. Watch the monkey, watch the monkey. 4 minus left, don't tighten into a 1 right.
There's some interesting pace notes they got there, that's for sure.
7 left over 80, tightening to a half, 3 left hug, into another 1 plus right. This is a half 3 left hug, into 1 plus right. Careful, 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 right. Half 3 minus left, to a half 3 right.
Shannon Chambers starting to show some pace in the polo, 6th fastest and moving to 7th overall. Dave Strong with gearbox issues though. He'd retire in the next service. Championship sponsor, the Evergreen, Brian Green, chasing a top 10 finish. These long, hard stages, not easy for the veteran.
I think Brian's been competing before I was even born, but you know, he'll be enjoying this. It's a big car to be getting around these roads, but after coming from places like Malaysia, this will seem like a breeze for him.
So Ben Hunt now 27.3 seconds ahead of Campbell. Holder now 3rd. Great to see Galbraith 5th, and Chambers 7th on his debut as we head to the Vins Service Park.
I love those 2 stages there, and you know, we are just making little headways, but we're starting to run out on tyres, so probably should have brought a few more with me, but you know, as the season goes on, everything gets a bit tighter, and you know, thanks to Dylan Turner, he's letting us buy a couple off him, so that should hopefully get us through and make it a bit easier for the rest of the rally.
Phil, you've settled comfortably into 2nd place, just not quite on Ben's speed, but not far off.
No, he seems to be taking just a little bit of time out of us each stage. It's a little bit frustrating, so we'll just have to try a little bit harder this afternoon. But yeah, at the moment, being seconds, we're fairly happy with that.
Darren, the pace at the front's hot, but sometimes it's a little bit too hot.
Yeah, it was a little bit hot into a corner in that last stage, and we were lucky not to roll, to be honest. We speared off into the trees, and fortunately there's not too much damage, but we managed to reverse out and get going again, so we didn't lose too much time.
Right, Max, just looking at the tyres that have come off the car, looks like you've been on a bit of a charge in those last couple of stages.
Yeah, Clinky had 3.5 seconds of us on us in the first service, so we pushed hard the last couple and we managed to get about 10 back.
Coming up on the Mahindra Goldrush Rally, we take a close look at the new V-Dub Polo, and the stages turn into a traffic jam.
Yeah, g'day, I'm Shannon Chambers from Pukekohe up in Auckland, and this is my V-Dub Polo. It's built in Poland, based on a WRC platform, and it's had Mitsubishi running gear grafted into underneath it, so reasonably reliable, and the motor's a bit of a mongrel. It's a bit of a mix of Mitsubishi and Volkswagen, running a pretty trick turbo, and it's 1800, which is quite a bit different to drive than a 2 litre. With a 2 litre, it's easy to pick a gear for the corner. With the 1800, you've got such a massive rev range, you can be in 2 or 3 gears for the corner. So it's really just how big your balls are, how fast you want to go.
Stage 5 is a repeat of Tapu Coroglen, the road with well-swept line now, but the drivers have had to watch out for the rocks that can be picked up on the road surface. Ben Hunt first on the road, his time 16:19.3, actually slower than in the morning. Phil Campbell would beat him for the first time in the rally, but only by 2.7 seconds. So while the other drivers have had to drive hard like Matt Summerfield here, can Hunt afford to relax even just slightly, Hayden?
No, it's much too early in the rally for this yet. You know, we've seen in history on this event, a spin or a punch can turn the leaderboard upside down, so all the drivers have got to keep pushing hard.
David Holder hasn't taken long to get back onto the pace after missing 3 rounds of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship, and he emphasised that with a stage win here.
And first rally with new co-driver Jason, this will be a huge confidence booster for not only this rally but future events as well.
21 today, but there'll be no stage win here to celebrate for Lance Williams in 6th. And here comes Inky. Glenn Inkster starting to get to grips with the Mazda 2 AP4, rewarded with 6th fastest time.
And the more time he spends in this car, the more miles he'll naturally get faster and get more used to what the car does.
Left and 2 right, and 2 plus left. 2 right, 2 plus left.
And Emma Gilmore, having lost 30 minutes in stage 4, now hunting stage wins. She came close here, just 1.1 seconds down on the winning time of David Holder. But a dramatic twist ahead on this stage for the Gold Class 5 contenders. Alex Kelsey spun on the stage. Seen here from Darren Galbraith, he was stuck off the road.
Into 3 right.
Sloane Cox dropped back in the order and was running ahead of Kingsley Jones, who had a hard-charging Todd Borden behind him. When Cox spun to avoid Kelsey, he stalls. Jones very lucky not to hit him. But that's when Jones's luck ran out.
Oh, it's not every day you see that. Very unlucky.
One of the most extraordinary things I've ever seen in my 25 years of rallying. Basically, we came around the corner and Alex Kelsey had stopped, Sloane Cox had stopped, and both of them were on the road, blocking the road. I came around the corner, nowhere to go, so I pulled on the handbrake and went backwards down the road and managed to miss Sloane Cox. Hooked first to turn around, and about 20 seconds later, Todd Borden came around the corner and he had nowhere to go. And so he's taken out between the bank and our car, and unfortunately the three of us all cruised down to the finish, but I'm the unlucky one because they hold the radiator, so it's the end of our day.
So let's check out the other Class 5 contenders then. Richard Bateman now third. Warwick Redford just 30 seconds behind him in fourth. Hugh Spence fifth despite this wrong slot on the 309. Hang on to it, baby.
Keep the power up it.
Jonathan Walker in sixth in his Evo 4, ahead of the similar car of Jonathan Shapley. Brindley Smith in seventh, and New Zealand Championship promoter Simon Bell rounding out the field in his cool-looking Legacy. Despite the rough road, stage 6 proving to be uneventful for the leaders, Hunt winning the stage again, but Campbell just 4.5 seconds back. Hunt's lead now 29 seconds with only one more gravel test left to run. Holder opened up the gap to fourth place, Matt Summerfield, so Matt now looking to consolidate his fourth spot. Lance Williams losing concentration at the end of Castle Rock Road. Oh, but still overhauling Galbraith to move into fifth.
4 left and 5 right into 1 left juncture.
The two-wheel drive challenge, and that saw 2 key retirements. Marcus Van Klink was out on stage 6 with a damaged diff, and Max Bailey rolled his Ford Fiesta early on stage 5.
Small crest, 120.
That looks like a big one there with the car in the paddock at the end of a long straight.
7 left, 60.
So Anthony Jones still holding the overall two-wheel drive lead. But Tony Gosling was closing the game, 18 seconds now behind and leading the historic class.
Good to see Tony looking after the car, got a bit of history.
Justin Glavish third and still in touch with the escorts in his Starlet. So Hunt still leads. Williams takes over 5th place. Todd Borden holding 8th despite damage from that crash. Dylan Turner back in the Vin Service Park.
All right, Dylan, you're here a bit earlier than we expected to see you. What's happened?
Yeah, sadly enough, the clutch came away from itself, so we had a bit of a dog. The third stage, we picked the wrong tyres. We stayed on our softs, and look, it just was backwards. You know, we went back 4 places, so I think we would have pulled it back in the next stage, but this happened.
Emma, a small electrical part, it's really cost you dearly.
Unfortunately, yeah, we in the first run of that stage, we had the master switch fail, and we just came around a corner and it just lost all power. And it was luckily we were just in a straight coming out of straight, so we sort of just pulled over to the side and trying to diagnose what was going wrong. But well, luckily we had cell phone coverage, so we could diagnose with the crew back here. Looking forward, we've got one more stage this afternoon. It's a power stage, and I really enjoyed it this morning. We stalled on the start line this morning, so I'm not going to make a repeat of that. And looking forward to a good run through there.
Dave, you were talking up before the event. You're a bit rusty and going to take it fairly conservatively. You've managed to pull out a stage win. Can't be that bad.
No, we're quite happy about that. Me and Josh were talking about it before. Actually, it's sort of with these cars when you take it tentatively, nothing sort of works in them. And like that stage, we sort of had a bit more of a go at it, and just under brakes and everything, it just turns in a lot easier. So it was actually a whole lot nicer to drive as well. Then I had a rubbish last one after that.
Coming up, we check out some Whitianga scenery while the drivers tear up the tarmac on the streets of the Mahindra Gold Rush Rally Coromandel.
Hey guys, I'm David Holder, and these are a few of my mates from the New Zealand Rally Championship. Here we are on the beautiful Whitianga on the Coromandel, ready to show these guys a bit of my territory.
While Whitianga has a reputation as a base for game fishing, the real prize is the amazing scenery, the beaches, the rock formations, the caves which lie within a boat ride. The Cathedral Cove Marine Reserve was formed in 1993 and now hosts a wide variety of fish and marine life. Kayak Tours NZ operate off Hahe Beach, and it's a 15-minute paddle across to Mahurangi Island. And the massive Arua Cave, third largest in the Southern Hemisphere, all part of the unique experience for the drivers and crews of the Mahindra Goldrush Rally based in Whitianga.
Hey, thanks Ken, showing us a bit around the Coromandel and a bit of our backyard. It's a pretty special place. What do you reckon, Emma?
Oh, it was just stunning out there today. It was brilliant, and you got dolphins out there for us, and sunshine and the seals.
Sunshine, yeah. Bit of cliff diving, yeah. Yeah, that was an awesome trip.
It's got a bit of everything up here in the Coromandel, so come for a look for sure.
Well, after having behaved themselves on the water, it was time to let loose on the streets with the first of two tarmac changes. A way of giving the loyal locals some entertainment. A lot of fun for everyone, apart from Shannon Chambers, who broke his engine on the start line. So with just a power stage to run on gravel, let's look at the finishes. Tony Gosling taking home a win in the historic class. And Andy Martin, the other historic finisher in his RX3.
And 7 right. And 5 right, carry. 7 and 5 right down here, carry. Yep.
Anthony Jones taking out the overall two-wheel drive honours in his Escort. Another great result for Justin Glavish, second ahead of Regan Ross in his Escort. In Class 5, Darren Galbraith storming home, well clear of the opposition, and putting himself back into contention to defend his title despite two DNFs. Todd Borden bringing his damaged Evo 6 home, just 43 seconds behind Galbraith. And third place would push Richard Bateman into the challenge points lead, overtaking Tyler Radovan, who had retired earlier in the day.
6 left tightens.
Brian Green scoring another top 10 finish.
6 right minus. Over finish.
Ahead of him, Graham Featherstone, who moves back into the top 5 championship position. Emma Gilmore salvaged 10 championship points from 11th in class, but here on the power stage she was desperate for a stage win and 5 bonus points. Her stage time 6 minutes 43. But Alex Kelsey had other ideas and spoilt the party. His winning time 6 minutes 37.5 to bump Gilmore back to 4 points, while he celebrated his first finish in this car. So our top 5 finishes at the Mahindra Goldrush Rally Coromandel. Lance Williams, 5th on his 21st birthday.
A bit of crossover to the right.
Matt Summerfield 4th and now just 4 points behind Williams in the battle for 3rd in the championship. Great result for David Holder to take 3rd, and a hint of what might have been if he had avoided that round 1 crash. Phil Campbell still with a chance to take the title this year, but he will trail Hunt by 24 points as they head to the final round in the Wairarapa. So Ben Hunt scores his 4th round win. The title is his to win, but for now he can celebrate with the honour of a 1st overall.
A great controlling drive right from the very first stage, which has put him in a very demanding position for the championship.
So confirming Ben Hunt takes the win over Campbell and Holder. Galbraith takes out Class 5. Anthony Jones finishes top in 2-wheel drive in 12th place.
It's a fantastic result, and you know I wouldn't be able to do this without Subaru New Zealand, Winger Subaru, Total Lubricants and Gull, and obviously everyone else that helps out our campaign. So yeah, it's awesome for them and the team, so fantastic.
How well are you going to sleep in the next 5 weeks?
I don't know if I'll sleep at all in the next 5 weeks. Probably be too busy making sure this thing finishes.
So let's take a look at the points table. Hunt on 130, Campbell 106. Still tight for 3rd though between Summerfield and Williams. So that's the winners. What about our test driver and co-commentator Glenn Inkster? How did he get on?
Here we are at the end of the rally. We made it. What a fantastic day. This little Mazda, you have no idea just how much it took. We were off the road a couple of times. It soaked up all the bumps, soaked up all the rocks. Very reliable, unbelievable fun. Hopefully we'll get to do some more gravel rallying, but next time out I'll be back behind the microphone interviewing the drivers, and I can't wait.
Next up, that final round of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. Join us for Rally Wairarapa on October 3.